G'day everybody, in today's video we're going to be going over each AFL team's most improved player for the 2022 AFL season. The criteria for this video is that each player must have shown some significant improvement either statistic wise or on the field wise compared from last season or the few seasons before. If you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, that'd be much appreciated. And let's get into today's video. Kicking off, of course, with the Adelaide Crows, I've gone with Sam Berry. I know it's only his second season. You might think, oh, there's a few other players eligible, which is true. But I just feel, compared to last year, I felt he did have a very strong first year. The previous year, he just seemed like a really hard-nutted inside midfielder. In my opinion, I think he was a top 10 first-year player of last year. But this year, geez, has he been a rapid improver now? Just an inside midfield ball. He's shown that multiple performances this year. He ranks elite in tackles, pressure acts, tackles averages. He's up there. I think he's the highest average tackler in the competition as well. Works very well with Rory Laird, and you can just tell this guy is going to be a superstar, an absolute bull in that midfield. For the Brisbane Lions, most improved player this year, I've gone with 𝐼𝐿𝐴 𝐼𝐿𝐴. This is a player that just looks very crafty, looks very nifty in his position. Seems to be a very utility kind of player as well. Can be a bit of a swingman, can swing forward, can drift a bit back. But I feel that this year the Lions backline has just been a bit patchy this year. But then you've got 𝐼𝐿𝐴 𝐼𝐿𝐴, who I think is just a very consistent looking player. He only is 22 years old. Statistics wise, he has improved from last year. 9 disposals, the average 2021. This year now 18.5. And I just think this guy's a very versatile player, very composed, has a great kick on him, a good footy IQ too. This guy's been a rapid improver for the Brizzy Lions. Moving on now to the Carlton footy club, and of course I've gone with no other than Charlie Curnow. Arguably a top 3 key forward this year. And just looking at every single kind of player that's, needed a big off season or have come back from injury, I think Charlie Curnow has probably had the biggest improvement from off season, or has had the biggest off season out of any player in the competition. Just look at him now. Obviously he had all those injury problems with his ACL and his knee injuries. He's come in. He's just had a very strong off season by the looks of it, and has absolutely blitzed it in 2022. Of course, is leading the 𝐼𝐿𝐴 at the time of recording this video, kicking 58 goals, and he just looks unstoppable. In the air, in aerial battles, he is just a great looking player. Very strong, can really have a good eye for goal, usually quite nifty in the set shots as well. And this guy's just quite simply a beast. Not really much else to say. Statistics wise, of course, leading the 𝐼𝐿𝐴. Bang, what an improving player this guy's been. For Collingwood now, I've decided to go with Darcy Cameron, of course. I think this guy's improvement and development has gone up so quickly and rapidly, obviously because of Grundy being out with a major injury halfway through the season. So this guy coming in, there was a lot of concerns as well with Grundy being out, but I felt like this guy's not only filled Grundy's gaps very well in the ruck, he's become a very nifty player around the ground as well. Does well in the hit outs, and when he can move forward and switch a bit with Mason Cox, he can really hit the scoreboard and become a threat in the forward line. Compared from last year, slightly averages more disposals, of course, averages a lot more hit outs, 15.9 compared to 6.7. And after being traded to the Pies in 2020, it's safe to say that this guy's finally had his breakout year. For Essendon, I've gone with Mason Redman. What a season this guy is putting together. I felt like in the first half of the year, whilst Essendon weren't playing the greatest performance-wise, felt like this boy, Mason Redman, was one of the shining lights in their squad. Just the whole year he's been very consistent across halfback. I think he's been a lot better than Nick Hind. Loves to take the game on, and he's just shown that he's a very accountable player in defence as well. Can really take an intercept grab, a two-way runner as well, and geez, he has of course a long boot and can strike a few beauties from 60 metres out. Compared to last year, he had 17.6 disposals. Now he has 21.4, 6.3 marks compared to 4.6. This guy also, Mason Redman, is a real good chance for maybe being top 5, top 10, top 7 in Essendon's Best and Fairest Award this year, you'd think. Moving on now to Fremantle, and I think we all know who this player is. It is, of course, Will Brodie. Probably, in my opinion, maybe one of the recruits of this season. Just the Gold Coast Suns didn't really get the opportunity. Was a Verge 22 player, really couldn't crack through to the side too much for the Suns. A high top 10 draft pick from a number of years ago. came across to Fremantle and is now playing every single game this year, has found a perfect role in Fremantle's midfield, just a hard ball winning midfielder that can just use it, kick it forward, just gain a lot of territory, very good in the clearances too, and considering that he only gets around 65 to 70% time on ground, when he's on the field, just what he can do, his output is very, very good. Still think he's probably one of the biggest improvers out of any player this season. Last season at the Suns, 12.8 disposals he averaged. Now he does average 27.6, 2.4 clearances to 5.9, 1.6 tackles to 4.9. It's a no-brainer. 𝐼𝐵 has been a rapid improver this year. Moving on now to the Geelong Cats, and I was this close from putting in Sam de Koning, of course, honourable mention there. But I've decided to go for Tom Atkins. I just feel that role-wise and team needs-wise, he's been the rapid improver this year for the Catters. Of course, last year and a few years ago, you know, he's always been a bit of a Verge 22 player. Or when he has been in the side, he's just been floating across half-back and in the Cats' back six. But early in the season, Chris Scott decided to make the move of him into the midfield and add a bit more of a pressure role and just bring the heat in that midfield. And of course, he's become a tackling bull, just a turnover beast, and become a really good ball user as well. Averages now 18.8 disposals compared to last year, which was 17.1, and has bolstered his tackling averages with 5.7 compared to last year, 3.4. And not only is he a unsung hero for the Cats this year, he is generally one of the most underrated players in the competition. A perfect role player and a massive improver. For the Gold Coast Suns now, and of course I've gone with 𝐼𝐵. I still feel like this guy's just not getting the recognition he is truly needing to deserve. Also, you could put him up there for top 5 recruits of this year. He's kicked, I think, 38 goals this year, which is just absolutely nuts from just being a Verge 22 player at the Tigers for a number of years. And finally, he has just shown that what he is made of when you move. When you know, for generally with some players, when you move to a new destination or a change of environment or a change of opportunity, you can really improve your development. And he's done that this year with the Suns. Of course, kicked 38 goals this year. Statistic-wise as well, he's just going to be improved in a lot more departments. Averages a lot more in marks, a lot more in goals, of course, averaging 2.1 goals a game, which is one of the most in the competition this year. And considering as well that they do have Ben King out, it just shows that without Ben King, look how good 𝐼𝐵 is playing, and he's potentially on track to be kicking 50 goals this year, which is just absolutely amazing for a player like 𝐼𝐵, who just didn't have the opportunity at the Tigers, moved to the Suns, and what a year he's having. He has been a rapid improver this year. For the GWS Giants now, and I've gone with 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐶 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐶. Of course, this year for the Giants, it's just not really been the season they have expected it to be. 𝘬𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐿𝐴𝐻 and 𝐾𝐎𝐿𝐴 and all those star types of players, higher paid players, have just been a bit underachieving this year over the span of the whole games of this season. And I felt 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐶 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐶 has really become one of their best rebound defenders this year. Perriman's been out a bit injured, so it's been hard for him to really take that crown. Of course, Whitfield's just been heavily underachieving this year, and I feel like 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐶 has really improved his game this year. Racks up the football and is one of their main outlets of finding a good target in the transition. Compared to last year, he had 21.9 disposals averaging, and now he averages 24.1. So statistic-wise, hasn't really improved that much, but I just feel performance-wise and team needs-wise, he's been one of their best players this year and been a massive improver. Move on now to the Hawks, and of course, I had to go with this fella. It's no other than 𝐼𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴 𝐿𝐴𝐴, the mid-season draft recruit from mid-season last year in 2021. You could tell as soon as he came into the side, I'm pretty sure his debut, he picked up the VFL/AFL record for a debutant in tackles with, I'm pretty sure, 14. You just tell that this guy has had that talent to become an inside midfield bull. And this year, wow, has he really put that on display. Become one of the best young midfielders in the competition, up there for the Rising Star Award as well. As you expect, averages quite well compared to last year. 22.4 disposals compared to 8.9 last year. Averaging quite nicely in tackles as well compared to last year. Kicks as well. Fantasy score, of course. And, you know, if it wasn't for Nick Daicos, I think this guy would be probably taking the cake, taking the chockies for the Rising Star Award. For the Melbourne Demons now, I've decided to go with James Jordan. I am fully aware that this guy played, I'm pretty sure, every single game last year for the Demons. But compared to this year, I think he's still been a massive improvement for the Demons across that wing alongside Ed Langdon. He's not only statistic wise showing his improvement, but also just his performance. A really underrated player as well, works brilliant between the arcs, a gut runner, shows a lot of support in defence and attack. And stats wise, compared to last year, he now has 21 or averaging 21.2 disposals compared to 14.5 last year, 11.4 kicks to 7.1, only 21 years of age as well. He's been a massive improver this year. For North Melbourne now, I've gone with Luke Davies-Uniacke. Statistic wise, it's pretty even compared to last year, but I just feel like impactful wise and performance wise, he's just totally changed into a new player, a different player, or the player that he should be, considering that he was a pick 4 back in 2017. And yeah, just his early pick is really starting to come to fruition this year for the Kangas. Of course, hasn't really been the best season for him, but I'm pretty sure, I feel like this guy's past 2 months, he's really turned the corner. Just a beast in that midfield alongside 𝐻𝐼𝐿 and Tom Powell. Just a bully and a bull in the clearances as well, and has to be a really good chance to pick up their best and fairest award for this year. For Port Adelaide now, I've gone with Todd Marshall, the player that is, I'm pretty sure, high up there in the goal accuracy terms, a really good set shot, and I just feel like the past few seasons he's just been really struggling to break through the side, really struggling to show that what he's made of. But this year, it's really had his breakout year. Slotted 38 goals this year at the time of recording and can potentially do a lot more. When Charlie Dixon was down, I felt like Todd Marshall was just their main man. And he's one of those players game by game, just gradually keeps on getting better and better. Also including that, he's really good one-on-one, a great contested mark, really good on the lead. What a season this guy's had. A massive, massive improver. Moving on now to the Tigers, I've got Daniel Rioli. Of course, we all knew him as the small forward in the premiership era for the Tigers. But this year, he has moved back to a halfback role. Another coaching masterclass, you could say, by Damien Hardwick. And he's just really gotten the best out of this player, Daniel Rioli. You could say he is probably maybe a top 10 halfback flanker this year in the whole competition. He's just really shown what he's capable of. Really accountable, is a gut runner, can go between the arcs, can really hit the ground moving with his ball movement, and of course is a really good kick too. Compared to last year, he averaged 13 disposals, now he averages 20.4. He used to average 6.3 kicks, now 11.8. So this guy's role change to halfback this year has been the key reason why he's been a massive improver for the Tigers this year. Moving on to St Kilda, of course, going with Jack Sinclair, you'd pretty much have to say he's a shoo-in for the All-Australian side this year. Would easily be a top 3 halfback flanker in the whole league, and he's always just been a bit of a, under the radar, just an average kind of play for the Saints. But this year, he's really turned the corner, just turned into a key pillar in their backline. Always their main kind of source to get it out of their defensive 50. Ranks up highly there in rebound 50s and just is a main kind of component to their back 6. Averages now 28.3 disposals compared to last year, and a lot more kicks, 19.8 to 13.4 last year too. Just, yeah, really good presence down there in their back 6 for St Kilda, Jack Sinclair. Moving on now to the Sydney Swans, I've gone with Chad Warner. What a season this lad is putting together. His stock has really been boosted by the media in his recent month of performances, some including the likes against Fremantle, where he had 35 disposals and a goal. And on the ground, his statistics as well has not only risen up, he's just become maybe one of their best midfielders for the Swans this year. Maybe arguably better than Mills or Parker, you could possibly say. Just a bull in that midfield, has that X-factor ability, can go forward, kick goals, and has very high potential to become one of the best midfielders in the competition. Compared to last year, he used to have 16.6 disposals, now averages 23.4. Averages 4 clearances against 2.5, a lot more kicks. What a season this guy has put together, a massive improver. Moving on now to the West Coast Eagles, I've gone with Connor West. It's been tricky to really find who's been one of their most biggest improvers for the season, because it's just really been hard to see that because of their performance this year. But I just feel Connor West is a really underrated player. Of course, taken in the mid-season draft last year, has just had a really good season in the midfield and been able to go forward too. Averages 13.9 disposals compared to last year, 12.6. Averages 2.2 total clearances compared to 1 last year. Again, really hard to find those rapid improvers for the Eagles this year, but I think this boy, Connor West, could be a hidden gem for the Eagles. And he's had, yes, arguably you could say, a really improving year. And for the final team, the Western Bulldogs, I've gone for their main man, the ruckman Tim English. I've always felt that the past few seasons, especially last year, I just always felt he was a little bit questioned. Was he going to be, you know, the ruckman that we thought he could be, considering he has quite high potential? I always thought around the ground he was pretty ordinary. He always used to get smacked in the hitouts too. But this year he's had a terrific season. When he has been in the side, he's probably been a top 3 ruckman this year, probably the closest to be challenging Max Gawn for an All-Australian ruckman spot, and has just pretty much improved every single department of his game. Now averages 19.9 disposals compared to 13.2. Used to get quite convincingly beat in the hitouts. Now he averages 23.7 compared to 15.5 the previous year. Can go forward and kick goals as well. Has 8 goals for this season. Can be a bit of a presence in the forward 50. Can really take a clunk. Averages 6.3 marks compared to 4.7. Again, a really good chance to be potentially an All-Australian ruckman this year. A rapid improver, Tim English. So everyone, there was every AFL side's most improved player for the 2022 AFL season. Of course, it's hard to just pick one from each playing list, so feel free to let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if you agree with me. Would you have gone for another player for another particular club? Let me know down in the comments below. Love to hear your fellas' thoughts. So everybody, that is the end of today's video. Again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. See you later.